Hey, it's been a while, 421 days to be exact, and in that time a lot has changed. I got married, we then sold all our stuff and started to travel full time. I managed to get some much needed sun and ate way too much paella and pizza while trying to grow business. And all was going so well until I shaved my beard in a poorly lit Airbnb bathroom and, well,
let's just say that did not end well.
so after trying to rock this goatee for one day, I decided to shave it all off and start again. And before we knew it, things started to look up again. The business kept growing, I met the grumpiest cat in the world, I went to the US for the first time, walked a lot in New York, turned 25, met my favourite YouTuber in person for the second time, this time he showed us around Chicago, went to my first HEB, which seems to be a big thing for the people of Austin, and I'm not entirely sure why. Launched a mouth tape company, although I didn't actually do any of the hard work. And then we got tired of travelling, but the problem was we didn't know where we wanted to live. So in the name of locking in, we decided to move back to Manchester, but this time right in the centre. At this point, the business is about 4 to 5 times the size it was the previous year. Once we found an apartment, we realised we only had 2 backpacks and 2 suitcases worth of stuff, so we kind of needed to furnish the place. And once that was done, the novelty of the high-rise apartment wore off pretty quickly. Then I started to remember why we left the UK in the first place. The weather. Now, I'm not sure I saw the sun for the first 2 months living here, but slowly spring started to get itself out of the chokehold that winter had it in, and life started to feel grey again. And that brings us completely up to date, April 13th, 2025. So what does any of this have to do with you? Well, I wanted to make this video in case anyone had been sat eagerly anticipating an upload from me for the last 421 days, and every single day you've just been disappointed. See, over the last year and a half, I've almost completely stopped posting on this YouTube channel, on Twitter, on my newsletter, partly because I'm overly ambitious and I'm trying to do way too many things at the same time, but also partly because I felt like I had nothing to say, which in hindsight was just a form of coping to kind of justify actually not putting in the work here and being okay with pushing this stuff to the side. See, I can pretty much trace most of the good things in my life back to the serendipity that you expose yourself to when you share things you're interested in and working on the internet. I've met friends, built a freelance career from a remote town in the middle of nowhere in the UK, learned an insane amount, had the opportunity to work with companies and creators and honestly just people I never would have had the exposure to previously. And hell, I even met my wife on the internet. And this all comes from just sharing things, just putting things out there that you're interested in, the things that you're working on. Because honestly, it turns out that you can just do things. If you want to do something, you want to expose yourself to good luck, then just do things. And as I say that, I can feel myself cringe because over the last 421 days, I've completely shut this off. So the realization I've had recently is that it would be dumb to close that part of my life off because all of these good opportunities have come from just sharing things. So what's going to happen? Well, this video is purely a life update. So now you're up to speed on what has happened, let's touch on what is to come. Now, the way that I view life is in a few distinct buckets. So you have your personal life, which is your happiness and really all like the relationships, that kind of thing. You have your health, you have your wealth, and then you have your creativity. Over the last 18 months, I feel like most of these areas are going pretty well except one of them, and that is creativity. And as much as I love building things, and I spend so much of my time designing and developing and building a team and doing all of these things that would seem creative, the real thing for me, the real creative thing, is ideas. Ideas are like crack to me. And when I don't have an outlet to explore, share, and think about ideas, I feel like I'm stagnating. I'll read much less and I'll almost never write, and these things to me are the things that make me feel like I'm making a lot of progress, and this is what I want to get back to. So the priority is to fix this by making weekly videos on business and life. Really, in these videos, what I want to do is share what I'm learning and what I'm doing as I'm trying to build this business and trying to optimize and improve my life overall. To be honest, I'm just really interested in self-development, business, creativity, and just living a better life. So that's exactly what these videos are going to be like. One week I might be talking about how I'm using an LLM in my day-to-day workflow. And the next week I might be just talking about a book that I've been reading. See, for me, these videos are a way to improve my thinking, to share ideas, share things that are working for me and what's not working, but also work on the craft of making videos because I know there's a lot of room for improvement. So to round it up, here's the game plan. In my personal life, the main focus is figuring out where we want to live long term. On the health side, I want to keep dialing in what's working. I should probably get started on cardio because I've been putting that off for quite a while. In the wealth bucket, I need to continue focusing on growing demand flow and getting myself more and more out of the day-to-day client operations. And we've also started working on our first software tool, which is really exciting me at the minute. And finally, we have the creativity bucket, which is what this whole video is about. And it is creating one of these videos and one newsletter every single week. Now, of course, I'd recommend signing up to the newsletter, but really the newsletter is going to be a continuation of these videos. So I'm going to touch on really life and business, and most of the time I'm going to be just sharing things I'm finding interesting, different experiences, and really just kind of tools and resources. So that's everything from me, and I'm really excited to get back into this. If you have been kind of waiting around for the last 421 days, then I really appreciate you being here, and I'll see you in the next video.